Hey, what's up, guys? How's it going? I've had the fish Flowerhorn for like 2 weeks now, and I've ran into some issues. I have not been able to get it to eat. It could be due to the fish is just not quite acclimated to the tank. It's not feeling comfortable in the tank. It could have a parasite. It can have a bacterial infection. So my plan is I'm going to set up a quarantine tank for the fish, a smaller tank, mainly because I'm going to raise the temperature to about 30 degrees Celsius, 80 degrees Fahrenheit, maybe a little bit warmer, just to help boost the immune system, get the cellular activity going to help boost the immune system. And then I'm going to get some cure-all from the Walmart, and then some bacterial remedy that I usually get from the Co. And then I'm going to get some Epsom salt. And the logic behind this Epsom salt is that if it is a freshwater parasite or a freshwater bacteria, if I raise the salinity in the tank or adding salt to the tank, I'm going to add about 1/4 teaspoon per gallon per day for 2 weeks, to see if I can't use that as some type of remedy to help this fish succeed and thrive. So let's stay tuned for that. I might lose this fish, and this is a fish that I spent $100 and it was advertised to me as a Thai silk. But anyways, another thing you can do if you do run into some of these issues when you are setting up your tank, or you've been in the hobby for like a couple years and you've never experienced some type of ailment with your fish, one of the things you can do besides setting up a quarantine tank is doing daily 10% water changes. And I know that's a lot to ask, but for like a couple weeks, instead of having to go out and spending $30 or $40 or how much money you end up spending on medication, sometimes these things will take care of itself naturally. Like I said, even just raising the temperature up a little bit and having better water quality will help with the fish. And one of the main reasons why I went with a bare bottom is that it keeps the tank clean. And so if I do add medications or something else, especially with the cure-all will stain your tank. So a lot of times that's why people put it into a quarantine tank, because it will stain the tank from the medication. So hopefully we don't have a parasite. Hopefully it doesn't have a bacterial infection, and let's just hope that it's just still getting acclimated to the tank. I've tried pellets, I tried shrimp, I tried worms, I tried tilapia, I even tried feeder fish. Do not get feeder fish because they usually have parasites, and I don't even know why I went with them, but I did anyways. Huge mistake. They all died anyways. They brought in a parasite too. So just don't get feeder fish. Don't get goldfish feeder fish. It's not a good idea. If you want to get live fish, try getting like the mosquito fish. Usually, it's not good to usually feed live. If you're gonna feed live, you use worms or something. So I just kind of want to go over with the setup. The setup is a 70-gallon recycled tank. Everything you have on this tank is basically recycled. I spent probably about, including the fish, probably about $200 setting this tank up. If you were to get all this stuff brand new, we're talking a lot of money. We're talking probably like $1,100, maybe $1,200 for a system like this. Like I just said, it is a found tank. It came with the overflow already put in. So I didn't put the overflow in. Basically, I got a heater in there that I got from one of my local fish stores, as you can see right there. I got just some fake plants, a little toy crocodile. He likes to play with it, or she likes to play with it, and then a sponge filter in the back. And then I finally I put it together, a DIY basically a crate stand that I built and cost me about 20 bucks with parts for getting like the lumber and the screws and the nails and everything. So it was about 20 bucks. I'm running a PVC pipe from up there. I corked the other hole and I got a PVC pipe up there. I basically used a plumber's weld and some silicone to seal the hole, and then I just had the PVC pipe run down into a 1.5 gallon, which got the sponge filters and the filter pads, and then it runs down into a 3 gallon that's got seashells and lava rock, and that's to keep the shells are to keep the pH level balanced. The lava rock is for beneficial bacteria. Then I threw in some cryotin and a cutting from a house plant to help with the nitrates and nitrites. The cryotin's to help with the beneficial bacteria. Same with that little pump in the back. Because the more oxygen you have flowing into the water, the better. So it's going to keep building the beneficial bacteria. I have a crystal pond pump in there. The reason I went with that pump, as you can see, it has the sponge filter attached to it. Then I got some carbon in there, basically just to polish my water and keep the heavy metals and other chemicals out of the water. And then I'm just using, how many liters is this? 66 quarts and 63 liters. So I think this is about between 16 and 18 gallons. Tote that I'm using for the sump, and it's just recycled. And then I got, an air pump, and then I'm using flex pipe. It's not flex pipe. I think it's flex pipe for the return, because it's easy to bend. I didn't have to go and get a PVC and make cuts and glue and do all that nonsense. And then up here I got a Zoom Med lamp that I'm using from one of my other tanks. It's just a leftover. And then I have some safety glass that I retrieved from an old refrigerator. So if the fish does decide to jump and breaks the glass, it's not gonna hopefully it won't cut the fish and kill it, if that does happen. The other thing is, like I said earlier, I don't know if this is a Thia Slink Flowerhorn. I've only had one other flowerhorn, and that was in a community tank of cichlids, and that was kind of an experiment to see how many different varieties of cichlids that I can actually house together without them fighting. I had that tank for roughly about 5 years, lost the whole tank to a parasite. I never really, it was in a grow out tank, so I never ever got to put them all into a bigger tank to really see as they mature, because a lot of these fish were juveniles when I got them. But for the most part, the tank was doing fine and it was thriving. Unfortunately, I did get a parasite from one of the fish that I ended up purchasing, and it contaminated the substrate. Another reason why I wanted to keep a bare bottom. Contaminated the substrate, and the parasite actually lived in the substrate, so I actually had to throw all the substrate away and totally sack that whole tank. I took all the rock and everything, and I boiled everything in hot water to hopefully kill the parasite. But then I just, yeah. So the other thing is, when you go to your fish store to purchase your fish and your setup, talk to the people who work there and try to find the guy or the gal who's the most knowledgeable about the hobby and about what you're trying to do, and work with them as much as possible. Don't go in there and just be like boom, 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 and walk out the store. It's usually really good to talk to them, get a rapport, or rapport with them, and really know. One of the reasons why I'm not making a big deal about, possibly getting sold a fish with a parasite, possibly getting sold a fish that's not what the fish is, that happens a lot. This happens a lot in the hobby. So be prepared for that. The reason why I'm not making a big deal about it is that they do a lot of stuff. They rescue fish, they help with local animal shelters. They've been in the community for 75 years. They have one of the best fresh and saltwater selection in town. So if I didn't feel like my money wasn't going to a good place with good intentions, I would have gone back in there and I would have raised hell, and I would have been like, you guys can't be, don't, make sure you know what you're getting before you get it. That's what I'm trying to drive home here. Make sure you know what you're getting before you get it. Especially with some of these cichlids and some of these new designer fish that are coming out. People will try to pass fish for something that they're not. Especially with hybrids. They do that all the time. For the most part, I feel like I wrapped up everything that I wanted to talk to you about in this video. Hopefully I'm not leaving anything out. So just, check in back next week or in a week or two, and we'll figure out if if the quarantine tank worked, and if I end up saving this fish. And help me figure out if this is a Thai flowerhorn. I DM'd Kevin from Stingray Biology because I feel like he's a very knowledgeable person, and I've talked to a couple other people who specialize in flowerhorns and South American old world cichlids, and most of them have said they either could not tell if this was a Thai silk or not a Thai silk. So leave me comments in the section below what you think this fish might be, if you know more about old world cichlids than I do. I'm kind of a jack of all trades and a master of none, so there's always room for everybody, including myself. Like I said, I've been in the hobby for quite some time, and we're always still learning, we're still sharing. The more information we can get out there, the better. So with that, I'd like to bid you guys all a farewell.